guys, and welcome to my video. This video is all about a simple guide to choosing a PC case. Now when you're building your PC, a case doesn't really affect the performance, but the case is the thing that you're going to be using every day and the thing that you see every day. And choosing the right one is not only an aesthetic thing, it's got to actually house all your components and it's got to make sure it's the right one for you. Now cases come in three main sizes, and these main sizes are determined by the size of motherboard that they accommodate. The smallest case you can buy is a mini ITX case, and this will support a mini ITX motherboard and nothing bigger. The next one up is a micro ATX case, and then the one above that is an ATX case. You can even get cases that will support eATX, which are really high-end motherboards that are slightly larger than the normal standard ATX and need a little bit extra room, because they've got extra PCI slots and they're a tiny bit wider as well. So when you're building your computer, you either want to choose a case first and then choose an appropriate motherboard, or you want to choose the motherboard first and then choose an appropriate case for it. The advantages of going for a larger case is of course that they can support more components and that they're actually easier to build in. Not only that, but the larger cases will also have better cooling options, whether it's the stock cooling that comes with the case or the options to expand for even better cooling later on. Larger cases are generally a lot better for cooling solutions. Now the advantages of a small case is of course that it's small and that you might actually not have room for a bigger case and you can fit a smaller one a lot more comfortably. They're cheaper and they're also more portable, so if you're doing things like LAN parties or if you're just going to be moving it from different places, then a smaller case is going to be the best option. So you need to decide if you want a small case with limited options or whether to go for a larger case with a lot more expandability. Now the key aspects of cases and the things that you should note whenever you're looking at one is how much cable management room they have, what size motherboard they accommodate, how many hard drive bays they have, and whether they actually have room for a disk drive, whether the hard drive bays are side loading rather than rear loading, what the front panel connections are like, and of course whether it has a side window or not. I would strongly recommend going for a case that has side loading hard drive bays, as if they're rear facing then it means that getting the hard drives in is a lot more difficult, takes a lot more time, and if you add a hard drive after your computer is actually complete, then it's quite difficult to actually get the hard drive in without scraping other components. In some cases you'll literally need to take out components like the GPU to actually fit stuff in, and it's just a lot more hassle than it's worth. Spend a little bit extra money. Most high-end cases, if not all high-end cases, will have them anyway, and it's really something to consider. So decide what you need out of your case and think about price range. If you spend more, then of course you're going to get more, and for something like a case, you're probably going to be using it for a long time. Even if you get new components later down the road, if you get a case you like now, then you could keep it, well, pretty much forever. So make sure you look at the reviews of the cases. You know what sort of price you want to spend, so just look at some case reviews at the price point that you're looking at. This way you won't actually need to worry about whether you're getting a good case or not, because the reviews will tell you that. But of course it's important to make sure that you get one that you like and that you're comfortable with. If you want something really serious, something quite low profile and something that doesn't attract a lot of attention, then look for ones in those styles. But if you want something that's really daring, something that's quite out there, then of course look at those sorts of cases as well. Decide if you want a side window or not. In some cases the cooling can suffer. If you're going to have multiple graphics cards, and then that's pretty much less air that can come in because it's a solid window and there is no airflow through, but you can get hybrids that will have holes for cooling and fans on the side as well as having a window. But decide what you're going to put in there and whether you want a window or not, and whether you want to be able to see what's inside. Of course having a window can be a good thing. If it's nice and neat and tidy and looks good, then obviously you get to see it. But if you've done an awful job at cable management, then people are going to be able to see when they look in through the window. So decide if a window is for you. It's important to know what you're going to be putting in your PC. If you look at a mini ITX case, then you've only got room for one PCIe slot. It's a double slot, so you can put a dual slot graphics card in there, but then that's it. There's no expandability for other graphics cards or things like sound cards or high-end network cards or any sort of PCI slot. Literally, you've just got one slot and that will be taken up for your graphics card. If you don't mind, then of course that's fine. But definitely it's a major thing to consider what you're going to be putting in your case, because the last thing you want to do is get a case that's just not big enough for everything you want to put in it, and then you're going to have to look at getting a different case later on, which of course is a lot of hassle and it's a lot of money. It's also important to note the cooling on smaller cases isn't as good as the ones on larger cases. So if you're looking at getting a really small case, then you're going to have to look at getting a water cooler for your processor, because air cooling in that case just won't be enough, especially if you put a graphics card in there as well. And while we're talking about cooling, if you do go for a mini ITX case, make sure your graphics card is a rear exhausting one, because that way the air is going to come in and go straight out the back, rather than putting it in a really hot case, and it's just not going to be an ideal scenario for your graphics card. So once you know what you're going to be putting in your case, what you might put in your case later down the line, you've looked at reviews so you know which sort of ones are good, and you know what your price point is, you should be ready to choose. A lot of cases do have the colour option of you can have any one you want as long as it's black, but some do come in different colours, and these different colours will often come in different finishes. So if you like more of a glossy one, look at whites are normally the glossy ones, but of course they do vary, so you just need to pick one that is well reviewed and that meets your needs. And there you go, you should have now chosen your case. Congratulations. If you're wondering, I'm currently running off an NZXT Phantom, which is pretty near flawless actually. I have had no problem with it whatsoever. It doesn't have a window, but you can buy a window if you want. But of course, as I touched on earlier, that means that the cooling is actually better because it doesn't have a window and the air can come in through the side. But I'm going on a bit now. So, thanks for watching. What cases do you have at the moment? What is your rig in? And if you're going to get a new case, what case would you go for? Leave any comments below, and I hope that this guide has helped you if you've needed it to, or you've just been watching it because, I don't know, you've got spare time. Then I hope you've enjoyed it as well. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next time.